San Diego Sports. SDFC getting going at 7 o'clock, a one-and-done scenario taking on Minnesota. SDFC is currently minus 170 on the money line. You hear that game on Jammin'. One of our FM stations. Then the Aztecs are taking on the Players Era Tournament. Aztecs basketball taking on number 7 ranked Michigan. Michigan is currently a 5.5 point favorite in that one. You can hear John get going at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports, 760 with the game, and Fletch with the pregame starting at 6:30. Be the 3C's MVP this month at Valley View Casino and Hotel on November 28th. One lucky winner will score cash, and more cash, or a spin for $100,000 during the 3C's giveaway, only at San Diego's favorite casino.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone. Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Into the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
Going deep in the Fletch Zone.
42 for Aubrey, and the Cowboys win 24-21. This kick is good, and the Chiefs have not led in this game until now. They get a walk-off field goal in overtime.
The first win.
Shador on third down, throws it. Sampson to the flat. Sampson 35. Sampson, first down. The foot race, and he's gone. Touchdown.
And the unexpected.
They run an end around for Oshesky, who's going to throw it down the left sideline for Winston, who makes the catch at the 15. Davis reaching, fighting it in for the touchdown.
I like to consider myself an athlete. I believe that I can make plays like that for this team.
That's why we love the NFL. San Diego State football making another statement.
San Diego State completes a perfect regular season at home. Improves to 9-2 overall and beats San Jose State on senior night 25-3.
We'll talk about the game and what's at stake on Friday. SDFC looking to the Western Conference Finals. You know what? I'll leave Sammy alone today. But don't get too comfortable.
I don't know. Thanks.
A weekend to remember, and we'll talk about it all in the Fletch Zone.
Oh, yes. Let's get it going on a Monday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. John's out in Las Vegas actually right now. I believe Jim has the day off. But here we go. Headlong into a Monday show where there was chaos in the NFL over the weekend. Snapdragon Stadium was popping on Saturday night for a big Aztecs win. They still control their own destiny in the Mountain West. SDFC has their postseason game today. We're watching the Players Era Tournament in studio as we speak out in Las Vegas. We got a busy day coming up. So strap in, get ready, and let's party. Sammy Long, how was the weekend? Oh, never mind.
I had a great weekend.
Never mind.
Listen, it's almost like they're back like they never left and everyone wrote them off, but it's just very fun. Excited for, SDFC tonight, Aztecs big victory on Saturday. Excited for some hoops tonight, but I mean, come on now. My Chiefs getting a W yesterday against the Colts. It was very good. Very good Monday. Got Thanksgiving this week.
It's a big week
to look forward to.
Every once in a while, I think most people go through this as a kid where your dad will come in and sit you down after you you messed something up. He knows you messed something up. And the conversation is very brief. It's like there's a common understanding between both sides of this operation where he says, look, I know that you put the thumbtack on the teacher's chair and you know that you did that. And yes, in a little bit of a way, this is funny, but this is not a cool thing to do. I have to punish you for this, and we're all just going to be okay with that.
Are you my dad in this scenario? What's going on here?
I'm the Colts dad in this scenario here. Colts, you had the entire country rooting for you outside of a very small subsect of Kansas City Chiefs fans. Everybody else in the country was saying, Jonathan Taylor, Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen, let's go get this done. And man, for the first 3 quarters and 4 minutes, the Indianapolis Colts looked like they were going to be the heroes of the country, but then they got caught putting the thumbtack on the teacher's chair, and the teacher sat down on it, and with a scream, Andy Reid jumped up and then kicked the crap out of the Indianapolis Colts for the final 10 minutes of that football game. And man, we were very close. Very close.
It's not their fault. It's what happens when you run up against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in a do or die situation. Don't blame the Colts, guys. Seriously, it's not their fault. They're new to this whole, being good and actually winning football games.
This is what happens. This is what happens when the Indianapolis Colts screw it up. But yes, very impressive fourth quarter for the Kansas City Chiefs, who storm all the way back to win the game and steal America's hopes out from underneath them.
By the way, our text line we're locked out of right now, which is hard to believe, but please hop on our YouTube or hit us on Twitter, Fletch and Sammy. We would love to hear from you, all your thoughts on whatever we're talking about today.
San Diego Sports 760 at Fletch and Sammy on X. You can find us in both those places. But yeah, a couple of crazy games that go to the finish yesterday in the NFL. The Chiefs-Colts game goes to overtime. Chiefs end up walking off. And then the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. Look, we got a lot of Eagles fans who listen to this show, and I get it, and I respect you. I love you as people. I can't stand the team you root for, but I refuse to believe here today for a team that gave up a 21-point lead to the Dallas Cowboys, who have had very little defense, if any, all season long. I refuse to come out here today and say the Philadelphia Eagles are a good football team, because you absolutely just let the Dallas Cowboys come all the way back in a game that they had no business even being in. And yes, Dak Prescott had a really nice second half, and George Pickens seems to be separating himself from even CeeDee Lamb, who had another rough game against the Eagles. But my God, you're a Super Bowl winning team who's defending the championship, and you take a 21-0 lead on a division rival, and you give it up and let them storm back into the game when literally Eagles, your entire thing is ball possession and your run game, and you let the Cowboys come all the way back on you and beat you? What are we doing here, Eagles?
Well, that you mentioned it. That's where it's one thing if it's a pass happy team, you get a 21-point lead and they shut you down and it's not really working. They're able to come back. The Eagles playbook, if you could drop a perfect game for the Eagles, is get a lead and let Jalen Hurts run and Saquon Barkley do the rest. That's the ideal scenario for the Philadelphia Eagles, and which is what has made them tough to beat over the last couple seasons. In Nick Sirianni, four carries for Saquon Barkley in the second half. When in the second half you still had a 14-point lead, you don't give it to the so-called best running back in football, which I think he's earned the stripes. He was last year. You don't even have him a part of the game plan. You hit the shots early to AJ Brown, but I mean, Nick Sirianni, I think this goes back to how bad of a coach he is. If the Philadelphia Eagles had a coach who knew what he was doing, they have maybe the best GM in football in Howie Roseman. They have a damn good quarterback, a Super Bowl MVP at quarterback. They got a great running back. They got great receivers. They got great everything. Except Nick Sirianni can't put together a game plan that actually is not just catering to his star receivers who are complaining about not getting the ball enough. Or like if I'm Saquon Barkley, I would be complaining because that's the only way I'm going to get the ball. Is that if you cause problems in the media, because Nick Sirianni will immediately switch the game plan the next week to cater to his star players. It's what happens when you go off the script, and it shows why Nick Sirianni is not a very good head coach.
I couldn't believe that game. There was a trio of games. It was the Colts Chiefs games that went just bananas at the end of it. Philly Dallas was a crazy game, and then Jaguars Cardinals ended up being an insane game with also insane playoff implications. So the Jaguars look like they're about to lose a game to the NFC West trailing Arizona Cardinals, who have had quarterback controversy. Kyler Murray's out, Jacoby Brissett starting and actually looking kind of good at times. And then the Jaguars are one of those teams, along with the Texans, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers now, who just dropped back, who are all kind of battling for those wild card spots in the AFC. And the Jaguars look like they were lost for dead. And you could almost count them out of that conversation with the Chiefs getting the win yesterday, with the Ravens winning and jumping up. So the Steelers dropped down, with the Buffalo Bills kind of firmly entrenched there in the wild card conversation. And all of a sudden the Jags were about to play themselves out of it. And somehow Trevor Lawrence comes through at the end. The Arizona Cardinals abandon everything that was working and start relying on Jacoby Brissett to throw the football. Interceptions abound. That was a chaotic game too. It was a good Sunday of football.
It was a great Sunday of football. But like in that game, think about Trevor Lawrence. The offense turns it over 5 times.
Yeah.
And I've been a Trevor Lawrence supporter, but bad
Baker had himself a day.
Like bad interceptions. Not like, oh, they made a play on the ball, like throwing it right to corners. Buda Baker made a fantastic pick on the sideline. And then they miss Tim Patrick. If you watch the end of the game, Tim Patrick had a wide open wheel route. They throw a duck on that. They're about to walk in for a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, the Jags, I don't know how to assess them. Like, they keep finding ways to win. They beat the Chiefs. They have a tiebreaker. They're firmly right there in the wild card picture. They don't look very good, especially since Travis Hunter's gone down and Brian Thomas Jr. has not come out of this season-long slump that he's been in after being one of the breakout rookies last year. So I give them credit, but I think the Jags are that team that has the talent to beat a lot of good teams, but they could also lose to anyone on any given Sunday because there's just not a lot of consistency there.
Great Sunday of football. Sammy, at what point in that Chiefs-Colts game were you ready to just turn it off and be done with the season?
Well, I never turn off the Chiefs.
For sure. But there had to be a point where you were this season's over.
I was furious when they were down 20-9. The Chiefs are driving at the 5-yard line. Kareem Hunt fumbles.
That was the moment my buddies and I started cheering, which I look back on and think, oh, that was the moment we screwed ourselves.
I was livid. I can't even repeat what was said on air,
No,
but I was livid.
But when that happened, I was like, oh my God, it's actually going to happen. The Kansas City Chiefs are actually going to miss the postseason.
They look so. The one thing I knew in the game, the Colts weren't really doing anything to the Chiefs that they weren't really beating.
Well, here's what the Chiefs did. They held Jonathan Taylor like 60 something yards, which no one's been able to do all year long.
And then the first touchdown the Colts had came off the pick on the 3-yard line from Mahomes.
Right.
But when it just felt like up until that point, they couldn't do anything. I mean, even the things that they could do, driving the length of the field, they couldn't score in the red zone. The red zone offense was atrocious until the end of the game. That's something that needs to seriously be cleaned up. But yes, when Kareem Hunt fumbled, I thought the Chiefs were in serious trouble, but they luckily pulled it out.
Rasheed Rice playing some hero ball. He was damn good yesterday, man. I have him on a couple fantasy teams, so I wasn't that mad. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big three here of our number one. We got Adrian Garcia Marquez joining the show today to preview some Monday night action at Snapdragon Stadium. Can't wait for it. Sammy, let's smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
And I just watched Tennessee absolutely run Rutgers out of Las Vegas. Tennessee's a damn good basketball team, man, this year. We're starting to kind of see the picture of college basketball come into shape. And some of the usual suspects are at the top, but like Tennessee, Michigan, who San Diego State has later tonight. There's some teams that aren't necessarily traditional college basketball powers that look unreal this year. It's going to be a hell of a season of college basketball. Can't wait for this Aztecs game tonight. Sammy, where are we starting?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. We're going back to the NFL. So we talked about the NFL, but we didn't talk about one of the biggest storylines of the day. So Shedeur Sanders and the Browns beat the Raiders yesterday. And as of this morning, as of an hour ago, he is named the starting quarterback going forward, despite Dylan Gabriel being cleared from his concussion. And who do they play on Sunday? Those San Francisco 49ers, Ben. Are you nervous as Shedeur?
No, I was having this conversation with Travis Dale this morning, and TD, look, he loves football, loves watching football, but doesn't really think of it from our point of view where you're kind of analyzing the game. And he actually said something that I thought was so smart. He said, this is worst case scenario for Shedeur Sanders because he came out and balled out, and I mean balled out, against the Las Vegas Raiders, who haven't really been able to stop anybody this year. So Shedeur looks great. I think he had the longest pass in Cleveland since 2020, something like that. The 50-yard bomb to Jerry Jeudy in the first half. Shedeur did look really good. He looks athletic, looks like a quarterback. I give him a lot of praise for all of that. However, you beat up on the Raiders, which is fine. And that says something about you. You have the capability of doing that. It's an NFL team on the other side. But the Raiders are the least of the competition you'll be facing. So after the game, Shedeur Sanders, as soon as there's a microphone in front of him,
of course,
he says, man, that was just with 1 week of prep with my boys. Imagine what a full offseason is going to look like. Well, Shedeur, you had an opportunity to go out there and be very, very humble and make sure you're saying, oh, man, without the offensive line, I was nothing today. You could have said all those things. But instead you go, man, if they would have had me with the first team all season long, we could have been dominating like this all year long. Like, dude, you beat the Raiders. Let's pump the brakes a little bit because next week you're going to be facing an actual NFL team and not the Las Vegas Raiders who just fired a bunch of coaches today. So I actually think that might have been the worst thing that could happen for Shedeur
By the way,
Sanders.
we got Chip Kelly fired on this show.
We did.
We were talking about last week.
We raised awareness that Chip Kelly is a terrible offensive coordinator.
Is stealing money from the Las Vegas Raiders.
We do a lot of like charity give-a-thons and stuff this time of year. We just let the Raiders know. We raised awareness that Chip Kelly is a disease and he sucks as an offensive coordinator. Get him the hell out of there.
So I've defended Shedeur Sanders. We got an argument last week over him.
Sure. But they're right to keep him the starter. He looked good enough to stay the starter.
Yes, I want to start with that. They're 100% right to keep him the starter. He has much higher upside than Dylan Gabriel. And, hey, you want to see what you have because still the Browns are going to be picking toward the top of the class. There's a lot of quarterbacks this year, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get Mendoza. We'll see if they lose out. I don't know if they're going to have the number 1 overall pick, but still, he showed some flashes. He had the bomb to Jerry Jeudy. He had a brutal pick earlier in that game. Stefanski, I did think called a pretty good game plan. He put Quinshon Judkins out of the Wildcat.
Tons of Wildcat. I liked it.
Shador had the 66-yard touchdown. Now it was just a flare-out route, but I thought Shador was poised in the game. And outside of the pick, really didn't put the ball in harm's way too much. Yes, playing the Niners is going to be a much more step up in competition. So we're going to see him next week. You do wish Shador, you're like, Shador, dude, just take the win, okay? Just beat the Raiders and go to the mic, handle go. I was,
He's got a lot of his dad in him.
Boy,
here's the difference. His dad wasn't a quarterback. Like expectations are different.
And his dad, you may not like his dad, but his dad was one of the best players, best player ever at corner.
And he was the best player in the league at the time at his position. Not even close.
So it's like, Shador, just calm down. You showed some promise, much better than Dylan Gabriel. So I like what the Browns are doing going with him. But we'll be curious. That's going to be the most televised Browns-Niner game I've ever seen.
I kind of like it. I'm like, just lean into it, Shador. Just be what everyone thinks you are, because it's you. And if that's authentically him, I'm here for it. Maybe I'll change my mind completely on Shador Sanders.
Let's go back to Cowboys-Eagles. Are you higher on the Cowboys after last night's win, or lower on the Eagles?
Lower on the Eagles, absolutely. No NFL team should ever give up a 21-point lead. If you work hard enough and you're good enough to get a 21-point lead, there's no shape or form where that 21-point lead should be given up, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I will say, in a big way, I think this is an indictment on Mike Tomlin a little bit for letting George Pickens walk. Sometimes you put up with the cancer in the clubhouse. Sometimes you just got to deal with wide receiver divas.
Imagine that Steeler team right now if they had Pickens and DK Metcalf.
Thank you, because George Pickens is better than CeeDee Lamb as of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think people got to caveat that he's getting one-on-one coverage because
CeeDee Lamb had
Lamb's
3
on the other side.
Disgusting drops yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't hit our over on our bet because of the drop touchdown. But
I'm just saying, like, the last 3 weeks, you look at what's on, George Pickens has been the better wide receiver.
Yes. Again, CD's creating those opportunities because they're still doubling CD. But yes, I'm 100% with you. I got to go higher on the Cowboys, though. I got it in the Eagles. We know what they are, though. They are a super talented football team with no direction. They don't have a guy. Nick Sirianni. They win in spite of Nick Sirianni. And last night it came back to bite them because they had no adjustment. When the Cowboys, you got to give Brian Schottenheimer and the Cowboys a lot of credit. They adjusted. They changed the game plan, and Nick Sirianni had nothing for him. I got to give the Cowboys some credit though, and Jerry Jones. It sets up a massive showdown with the Chiefs and Cowboys both needing the game on Thanksgiving.
Right, but the Cowboys are still at like a 10% chance to make the postseason.
But if they somehow beat the Chiefs and the Lions, if you look at their schedule, it opens up. Now it's a tall task. I think they're going to look back at losing that Cardinal game, and it's going to be a big deal for them. But think about what they did. The offense is legit. We know that. But the defense, the whole Micah Parsons deal, everyone says it's a clown act. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, like that defense kept them in that game yesterday. The offense gets the highlights because they had the bomb to CeeDee Lamb and Pickens went crazy. But the defensive additions that Jerry Jones made while still keeping some draft picks from the Micah Parsons trade, like this defense, Overshown coming back, completely ate up Saquon Barkley. Quinnen Williams is fantastic. So this defense is getting better. Again, maybe it's too little too late for the playoff picture. We'll see. Thursday's a big game for both teams, but I got to give the Cowboys some credit there. That was impressive to come back in that game.
I'd sign George Pickens. I think I'd
Yes.
extend him.
Yes.
Because I
Now,
think they need him. You need 2 good wide receivers with Dak.
I agree with that. But you also know, I think Dallas is the perfect spot.
It really is. Like it seems like him and CD are actually really good friends. But I think I would take George Pickens and I would extend him out.
And before he gets a break, Dak is the kind of leader that keeps the ego of Pickens in check.
I think so, yeah.
What you don't want is Pickens going to, I don't know, Jacksonville, getting paid $1 gazillion running the franchise. That's where I think you get nervous with George Pickens.
Yeah, I would sign him. I think year over year, I'm higher on the Cowboys. But for this year, it tells me everything I need to know about the Eagles. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We got one more story we're going to get to, plus a great win for San Diego State on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll cover it all here on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. And I believe our buddy J Riff is doing a little on John and Jim today.
Oh, hell yeah.
For the final couple hours, because John's out in Las Vegas getting ready for tonight's game between San Diego State and number 7 Michigan. Let's get it on, dude. That's going to be crazy. I'll be back with you for pregame starting at 6:30 tonight for Aztecs Hoops here on 760. If you're looking for SDFC, they're going to be over on Jammin' 95.7 tonight for their game. Kickoff for the postseason matchup coming at 7 o'clock tonight. Going to be a wild night at Snapdragon Stadium too. All right, Sammy, what was the final story in the Big Three?
Ravens won their 5th straight, currently lead the division actually in the AFC North after the Steelers dropped to the Bears yesterday. Are the Ravens legit Super Bowl threats?
The defense still isn't quite there. Like, you haven't felt the Ravens haven't been the Ravens yet this year. They weren't yesterday either, but it was a good win for them to get. They're all of a sudden cooking again. I think we need a couple of weeks still from the Ravens to talk about them as Super Bowl contenders, but they're firmly in the postseason now in the AFC. I think the Steelers are in a complete downward spiral. I think Mike Tomlin's job for the first time in a few years, even though everyone talks about his job being up for grabs, might actually be on the line the rest of this season.
And they got the Bills on Sunday, which they think Rodgers will be back. That's a massive game for both teams because the Steelers' schedule really is brutal the rest of the way. Like, the Ravens, I think they are, because if they get in, no team in the AFC is separating itself. Like, the Colts lost to the Chiefs yesterday. The Broncos, there's still a concern with, is Bo Nix really going to lead them to a Super Bowl?
Patriots just solid all the way through.
Yeah, kind of gave a little scare there with the Bengals yesterday. Like, so there's not a team that's so much better than everyone else. So yes, I could see the Ravens getting in and being held. And we've kind of talked about this before. The Ravens have always had massive expectation when they go in the postseason because they've always been a 1 or a 2 seed. If they get in and they sneak in, they're able to kind of play with house money a little bit. They could be dangerous. But 3 straight games, Lamar under 200 yards passing. He still looks like he's kind of hurt, and against some pretty rough competition, the Jets, not a lot of great teams in there. We'll see them on Thanksgiving against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but they're a threat, but it just feels like it's not totally clicking. And if Lamar's not fully healthy, this team, because of the defense, like you pointed out, probably can't go too far. Lamar has to get back to MVP Lamar.
He's not taking off and running nearly as much as he was. They're relying on Derrick Henry a little bit more, which Derrick Henry's also lost a bit of a step. So I'm not there with the Ravens yet, but if they get healthier, we definitely can be. All right, Saturday night, Snapdragon Stadium. Sammy, you were there in attendance. San Diego State gets a big win over San Jose State. They end up winning 25-3. The game never really felt comfortable to me, and I don't know if I'm the only one, but it was just a weird game through and through. San Jose State misses 2 field goals. The Aztec defense was phenomenal once again. How about this stat? 6.8 points per game. That is what people coming into Snapdragon this year averaged. 6.8 points per game. Talk about one of the nation's best defense. It truly does live here in San Diego, and they were incredible once again. But you think about how much different that game could have been. The Acevedo drop in the first half, a couple of third down plays were some drops from Aztec receivers. They're really feeling it from missing Jordan Napier and Jacob Bostic. Jacob's been out for 6 weeks now. Jordan Napier just went out against Boise State. They got a little bit of a wide receiver problem here. I actually thought Jaden looked as good as he's looked all season. Jaden Denigal, the Aztecs quarterback, but a couple of drops turn a 175, 200-yard game into a 90-something yard game.
Yeah. The drop, obviously, the one that, was going for a touchdown. That was
a 60-yard bomb. Perfect pass, perfect play call, everything perfect. Drop pass.
There was another 15-yarder kind of just stop and hook that was dropped as well. So, yeah, Denigal, I think, had a much better game than if you didn't watch the game and just looked at the stat sheet. Goes out a couple weeks in a row where he hasn't played very well. I don't really think that was his stats were indicative of how well he played that night. Yeah, it was an odd game because, the Aztecs were dominating. And it looked like San Jose State didn't belong on the field with them, but the game was never really out of question.
It was a 2-possession game the entire time.
So the Aztecs didn't really put them away. Now, it's a credit to that defense that they can hold those leads. And I mean, hey, anytime you give up 3 points, I don't care who it is, even though San Jose State's not very good. That's impressive. Listen, go handle business against New Mexico, and then it's Mountain West Championship time.
There's a lot of confusion when it comes to what happens after Saturday's game. The math gets real easy, or Friday's game, excuse me. San Diego State wins this Friday. They're hosting the Mountain West Championship game, and most likely it would be Boise State coming to town if they get a win because they have the tiebreaker over UNLV. If San Diego State loses, I have no idea who's going to be in the Mountain West Championship game. If it's San Diego State, if it's going to be at San Diego State, there's a potential where if they lose that game, they could be going back to New Mexico for the Mountain West Championship game. There is a million different scenarios because you have, if San Diego State loses, you would have 4 teams with 2 losses in conference if Boise State and UNLV both win. So there's a million different scenarios, but make it easy. Win on Friday. You're hosting the Mountain West.
And that's the weird thing is that you're playing New Mexico. You like want to host the title game, but then part of you doesn't want to pull out all the stops because you got to play them again in a week.
Only if you lose.
Weeks. Only if you lose. So yeah,
it's very confusing.
Just win the game, but it's tricky in terms of you see this in some of the bigger picture. Like if you're Indiana or Ohio State, you're going to meet in the Big Ten championship. There's a very high likelihood they might be playing in the national championship. So if you're Ryan Day, you're Ohio State. Like, do you really want to pull out all your trick plays in the Big Ten championship? It's an interesting question that only the coaching staff can answer.
This is a must win for San Diego State. So you pull everything out because this game, if you win it, you determine your own fate. You're in the Mountain West Championship game. You're hosting the Mountain West Championship game where we know people have not been able to score touchdowns all year here in San Diego. So yeah, obviously you put everything out there for it, I think, because then you're not taking the risk out of having to play New Mexico again also. But New Mexico has been damn good this year. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun one on Friday. Fun one tonight here in San Diego. We got so much going on. SDFC at Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego State in Las Vegas in the Players Era Tournament, which we're actually watching right now in studio. There's been some awesome basketball action already today. Tons of fun to come in San Diego right here on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Big night here in San Diego. So SDFC taking on Minnesota at 7 o'clock. Hear that game on Jammin' 95.7 FM. SDFC is currently a -170 favorite. Minnesota plus 400 on the money line. And the Aztecs men's basketball on the Players Era tournament, taking on number 7 ranked Michigan. That game is at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer gets you going on the call at 7:30. Fletch gets you with the pregame at 6:30. Michigan is a 5.5 point favorite in Vegas. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim take over then. Now, Sammy, you were actually not super far off on long shots this week. We got close. It was a hot start. Your college football pick was perfect. The first fight you picked was perfect.
Yes.
And then what happened with Anthony Yarde?
So David Benavidez, the Mexican monster.
Sure. Great name.
Knocked him out in the 7th. We needed Yard to keep going. I thought he was going to put up a little bit better of a fight. Yard did not have a good game plan coming to that, but shout out to Dave Benavidez. He took care of business. And then CeeDee Lamb, he dropped.
No, CeeDee Lamb worked. He had 75 yards.
Oh, okay, because it shifted for some people.
Quinshon Judkins was the one who didn't get it.
And Quinshon Judkins, he had 2 touchdowns. He just didn't get the yardage.
Right.
So they screwed us a little bit.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb at 72.5 was the number he went over. So yeah, we'll see. Long shots coming up at 12:45. Sammy will get us a new one here so we can maybe win on Monday Night Football. Niners, Panthers. There's too much going on tonight, Sammy. I don't know. I'll be here in studio for that because I'm doing the Aztecs game. So I need the Niners somewhere. I need the Aztecs somewhere, and I need SDFC somewhere.
Well, we got 10 TVs in here, so we're good.
Who's gonna make that happen for me?
Mike Usher.
Mike Usher, baby. Let's go. It is San Diego Sports 760, and it's a big night here in San Diego. So Sammy and I were just kind of talking about it. For San Diego State basketball, who's taking on number 7 in the country, Michigan, tonight. Michigan's fantastic, man. They don't have a whole lot of holes in their lineup, their build, everything. They are geared up for a national championship run this year. That's what Michigan's doing. San Diego State, you could say a lot of the same things about. Now, San Diego State just has an early season loss to Troy, which all of a sudden Troy's looking like a bit of a juggernaut in college basketball, but they have 2 bad losses on their year as well. So San Diego State's metrics are far below that of Michigan coming in tonight. San Diego State can literally erase that Troy loss with a win against Michigan tonight. Keeping it close against Michigan does a lot to erase that Troy loss. But for San Diego State, all the pressure's on them coming into this game, and they're going to need to be fantastic. This needs to be a Houston-esque style performance from a year ago to take down Michigan in Las Vegas, and you could really make a name for yourself with a lot of eyes in the metrics committee and the selection committee watching this tournament, because literally the best college basketball teams in the country are all at this tournament.
Well, in Michigan, their calling card is their front court. That's they have massive size. They want to impose. They want to rebound the basketball. Their rebounding metrics are some of the best in college basketball, albeit small sample size. But that's what they want to do. Big Magoon Guath game. Now, the one kind of silver lining in that Troy game, I think gets lost a little bit. Magoon Guath,
fantastic,
and you could tell settled in the game. The final 10 minutes of the second half, and then over in the 2.
He didn't miss a shot.
He was fantastic. He had that BS call and the moving screen or whatever, but he was great. So this is a Magoon Guath game. Who is going to show up? Is he has to dominate and not be, because what we've seen the small sample size this year in that Troy game, he was a lot more of a post presence. Last year, he was very kind of on the outside. You see the talent, you see the 3-point ability, but he wasn't really kind of getting in there with the big trees and getting after it. You saw that against Troy. Now, Michigan's a very different animal than Troy, but this is a big opportunity for Magoon Guath, who is, by the way, getting looked at by Michigan, almost went to Michigan in this game. So Michigan scouted him well, but he's also seen them a lot. So expect the veterans in this game. Bird, Guath, Reese Waters got to have a big one. The Aztecs have the ability to do this. Just because I know you were just saying it, just because they lost to Troy, it was a bad loss. They can erase all of that. This team still has all the talent in the world, but now you get to go prove it on a much bigger stage, and hopefully they're able to do that.
I would also say, Troy plays a brand of basketball that San Diego State probably will not see again this year. the way they have a 5, it's much more like high school scheme that Troy runs that is not very prevalent in college basketball. Michigan's not going to be that. They're going to have guys working inside the entire game. In a lot of ways, you could say this is actually a better matchup for San Diego State than Troy, but it is better competition on the other side. But as the X's and O's line up, this is much more standard from what you'll see and what you prepare for in the offseason.
Right. And the way Troy played, the jacking up threes, like if you look at some of the defense, yes, there was some bad defensive assignments,
but it's tons of motion. San Diego State classically does not switch, and that's part of their brand, part of their defense, but that doesn't set you up very good against a team like Troy.
And I mean, there's not much you can do. And again, there's not an excuse to be made for the Aztecs. It was a bad loss, but there's not much you can do when a team's hitting from a clip outside. That just, I mean, they were hitting some deep threes. This was not like wide open threes. They were just making big time shots. So you got to give credit to Troy. They almost went in, should have beat SC. SC won on that crazy shot. So listen, big opportunity. They're going to play Michigan today, Oregon tomorrow. Oregon, the team last year who beat them. Remember the Aztecs
in this tournament.
Aztecs came back late in that game. Big opportunity. Excited for the Aztecs tonight. I think they come out and show. I think it reflects in the betting lines too. They're only 5.5 point dogs.
Right.
And if you would have told most people, hey, they lost to Troy, you'd be like, what? Vegas knows what they're doing.
Here's something we haven't really talked about. Like Farrell Compton didn't play in the second half against Troy. And I didn't really know why. I don't know that we've gotten clarification on whether or not he got hurt a little bit. But he just simply wasn't a factor in the game. He wasn't even on the court for a lot of the second half. I think back to last year against Houston. Farrell Compton was one of the best players on the court as a freshman against Houston. He was a beast in that game. You're going to need Farrell's size, his athletic ability against a team like Michigan. So I wonder if he is able to kind of turn back the clock a little bit to last year when he had that game against Houston, which was his big breakout performance. And if he could do some damage here tonight, because you're going to need him, you're going to need Magoon, you're going to need Miles Heide, all to step up and have big games against a team in Michigan that prides themselves on their
no foul trouble from Magoon in this one.
Yeah, that's big. We were talking about it off air, but I was like, San Diego State has such depth. I would foul the crap out of Michigan, but you got to be selective on who's doing the fouling.
Right. You don't want Bird and Guad, no disrespect to the rest of the team. They can't get.
They're your offensive scorers.
But to your point,
Jeremiah Odin, foul the crap out of people.
Listen, college kids can't make free throws. This is known. Okay, it's not the NBA. Yeah. So put them at the line, make them earn it the hard way. Do not get them easy bunnies. I think the Aztecs show out tonight. Dutcher's got a week to get them together defensively, and I'm excited for this game.
And it's going to be huge, man. Like I said, Michigan's gearing up for a national championship run. That's what they put this team together with their eyes on that. So San Diego State, it's an uphill battle tonight, but they absolutely can get it done. Cannot wait for that game. This is when college basketball has 2 times a year where it is maybe the best sport in the country. Obviously, it's March Madness, but it's also Thanksgiving week when you have these tournaments going on across the country. And like we're watching Notre Dame and Kansas right now. This is a game you wouldn't see unless it's happening now or in March Madness. Let's party. College basketball's the best. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We got long shots coming up next. Sammy, are you ready?
I am ready. And again, because people DMing us, our text line, we don't have access to it. So please hop on our YouTube or our Twitter and DM us. We'd love to hear from all of you.
At San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube, at Fletch and Sammy on X. You can find us there. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, and Michael Jackson taking you through till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then.
We need a glove as well.
J-Riff's going to be on the air here today on San Diego Sports 760 as well. I believe from 4 to 6 as we get ready for
Is he a
Aztecs
Michael
basketball.
or Prince guy? Did we ever get clarification on that?
Jonathan Rifkin?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well,
Did we have that conversation around him?
No, but I think we should. He's going to be on the station.
Dude, that conversation lit off the biggest bomb this show has ever had to deal with.
MJ or Prince?
Speaking of big bombs, this weekend Long Shots was not a winner, but today it can be. Sammy's actually done something over this last commercial break that he never does, which is consult me with Long Shots. I think because the Niners are playing on Monday Night Football.
I am throwing you a pick. I trust Fletch. I trust my fellow betting partner, Fletch, because he knows his boys tonight. I'm going to, and I told him, I said, no homer picks. I go, this is a, what you think is going to happen. I don't want to hear,
dude, I want to make money too.
Right. So you watch the Niners more than anyone I know.
Mm-hmm.
So you will have a selection in Long Shots today because I doubt there will be overs for Carolina, which I will take care of.
I feel so honored. Sammy, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that man, his man.
with Long Shots.
I got a Carolina one. I got a San Francisco one. Which one do you want?
I want your San Francisco one.
Brock Purdy, more than 22 pass completions.
Okay.
Okay, you can't ask me for a pick.
No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it because I asked you.
Say no.
I have to ask you this. I do think your Niners are gonna be winning tonight.
Okay.
I think the Panthers are too bipolar for me.
Are you remembering that the Niners don't really have a defense right now?
Yes, but my thing is this. Is this not going to be a little bit more of a rushing game?
I really don't think
with
so.
you guys having a lead and Bryce Young and them having to throw from behind?
I think this is a shootout.
Okay. All right. Hey, I gave Fletch a pick. I'm going to ride with the pick.
I have another one.
What's your other pick?
Brian Robinson rushing yards.
Now, I like that one because I agree. We're talking at the break. I think you guys are going to be running out the clock. But you know what? We're going to go with your Purdy because I don't want to hear if he hits to go, oh, you just hate Brock Purdy. Brock, what is it? Brock Purdy more than what?
22 pass completions.
More than 22 pass completions. It makes sense.
He's done this in every game except his last one this year.
It makes sense. He doesn't have a big arm. Shanahan going to get him in the offense, some quick hitters. Okay. I like that.
Literally, look over the last 5 years who in the NFL has the best pass completion percentage on passes over 20 yards. It's Brock Purdy.
I mean, it's easy when they're scheming, running wide open. But no, hey, that's good for him.
God, Sammy is such a hater.
All right, more than 22 pass completions. All right, now I am going to handle the
side by side their stats, Mahomes and Purdy over the last 3 years. I think you're going to be disappointed.
What's the Super Bowl record?
Not
against each
important.
other? Oh, yeah, I didn't think it was important. Okay, we're going Bryce Young, more than 2.5 pass yards. Because even though I like to hate on Fletch's Niners, and yes, I will be rooting for the Carolina Panthers tonight, I think the 49ers will be winning this game. I think this is too big of a step up in competition for Carolina. Carolina, give credit. They beat Green Bay. That was a very ugly game. They should have, Green Bay played awful in that one. They beat Atlanta. Atlanta's been a little bit of shambles. Michael Penix gets hurt in that game. Carolina has pieces. Like Bryce Young has moments. Rico Dowdle's been fantastic. McMillion's been great. Leggett at the number 2 spot was kind of the big pick last year. He's kind of been excelling later in the year as that number 2. My problem with the Panthers is this. The defense is terrible. J.C. Horn, who's been really one of the bright spots in corner the last couple of years for Carolina. He was a high draft pick, top 10 pick a few years ago. He's been struggling a little bit. They don't have Brian Burns anymore. I don't see them being able to stop Kyle Shanahan in this offense. I really don't see it. So I think the Niners are going to be playing with the lead for most of this game, which means we're going Bryce Young pass yards more than 208.5. And I get it. You're going, Sammy, are you getting baited? He had a 448 against Atlanta. He has not hit this number in each of the 4 previous weeks. New Orleans, Green Bay, Jets, Dallas. But I think Bryce Young, the amount of opportunities tonight going up against a very injured Niners defense, no Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. I do think the game plan, they will have some wrinkles for him. But I think this will be a backdoor cover. Don't freak out if he has 70 to 80 yards at halftime. I think the Niners are going to be winning this game, and this is going to be a slight backdoor cover with a couple minutes to go. My second pick, Xavier Leggett, to go with this because I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver. Listen, say what you want about the Niners, but they do have good ways of taking out your best player out of the game. They're a well-coached team. Shanahan is not going to let the superstar rookie McMillian out of Arizona beat them. So we're going to go to the number 2 spot. We're going to go to Xavier Leggett, more than 22.5 receiving yards. He really struggled early on the season. He was kind of non-existent. A lot of fantasy owners took him. He had a decent season last year, kind of breaking out, but he's most known for that drop last year, if we remember, against the Eagles, where they were about to win that game. Dropped it over the middle. Leggett recently has kind of been working better with Bryce Young in the offense. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more tonight, going to be a part of the game plan, playing from behind, which is going to take Rico Dowdle out of the game a little bit. Leggett, I think, catches a bomb down the sideline, is going to be able to have this more than 22.5 receiving yards for Xavier Leggett. So Bryce Young, more than 208.5 pass yards. Xavier Leggett, receiver for the Panthers, more than 22.5 receiving yards. And Fletch, ride with your pick.
Brock Purdy, more than 22 completions.
Okay. All I'm going to say, Fletch, is if Purdy lets us down and he's the reason this doesn't cash, I would not come to work tomorrow. I'm just going to say.
Because if I am the reason one long shots doesn't cash,
I have to carry the betting public of San Diego's shoulders every day.
And you do so good.
I'm letting you into the crack, and I need you to come through. Our listeners need to trust you from a gambling perspective.
I think I am going to come through. I would also feel very comfortable with George Kittle more than 60.5 receiving yards.
Okay, here's my problem. A four leg same game parlay is a little much. I'm not opposed to that.
I already put it in. It's part of mine.
What is it? Kittle more than what?
60.5 receiving yards.
I'm not going to roll with that.
Brock Purdy loves him some George Kittle.
I'm not going to roll with that because, again, I'm nervous about the Purdy pick because I think you're going to be playing with the lead. There's going to be a lot of running, but I'm going with it. So the final parlay, if you want to be crazy like Fletch and go,
I would also smash the over in this game. I got shootout all over this thing.
Okay, Brock Purdy more than 22 pass completions. Fletch's pick. Bryce Young more than 208.5 pass yards. Xavier Leggett more than 22.5 receiving yards.
Fletch's pick.
Hey, stand by it. It's your pick.
I love the pick. It's gonna happen.
Good. Then I hope you're right. All of San Diego is counting on you, Fletch.
Dude, Ricky Pearsall about to have a monster game. Every Niner's about to feast.
Yeah, I love how every Niner's going for an over according to Fletch.
Yep. Except for McCaffrey. His numbers are way too high.
I am so bummed our text line is not working right now because the amount of text coming in of you glazing the Niners, I can only imagine.
Dude, I don't even know that the Niners are going to win this game. I'm telling you, it's a shootout. This game's going to end in the 30s at minimum.
Really?
Yes.
Is this you being nervous, or do you really think the Niners going to?
No, this is me looking at the 49ers and seeing, okay, our entire defense that was on the field to start the year is not on the field right now. It's not just Warner and Bosa. Those are the two big names. Everyone else has gotten hurt this year.
I would pick the Panthers for an upset win if this was in Carolina.
It's like Robert Saleh putting Band-Aids everywhere and saying, please, God, let this one work.
This is why I'm picking the Niners, even though it makes me sick. Robert Saleh is he's too good of a defensive coordinator.
He's fantastic.
To be letting Bryce Young and McMillian, they're a very one-dimensional offense. The Panthers' only shot in this game.
Rico Dowdle is sick.
Fantastic. But here's the problem. If they're losing by 2 touchdowns, which could very well be the thing, the Panthers start slowing games. Rico Dowdle is non-existent in the game, where in his home games, they're usually able to keep it closer, able to work it. I think the Panthers defense is going to get cooked tonight. And so I am rolling with your Niners.
I'm usually very much the guy who, if you win the coin toss, you defer to the second half. You try to win that middle 8. With the Niners team the rest of this year, start with the ball.
I think I agree with that too against the Panther team that, again, you're confident you're going to be able to score on.
Yeah.
Don't let them get a lead and keep it away from the offense.
And like Shanahan on script is one of the best offensive coordinators who's ever lived.
Yeah.
Get to your script, let it cook, and just play with a lead the entire way. You got to score on pretty much every drive. That's just the situation the Niners are in.
It's odd saying nice things about the Niners.
Dude, they're the Bengals with Joe Burrow. You just got to outscore everyone you're playing against.
Can you believe Joe Burrow's coming back, by the way, for Thursday night?
I cannot. I thought he was coming back this week.
I thought he was going to come back. We can get to this in the next hour. But I thought he was going to come back if they won that game against New England. Because it really would change the probabilities of them winning the division. It would shoot up.
Do they have the Ravens twice more this season?
Yeah, they got Thanksgiving and then in 2 weeks again.
You might as well just let it rip for Joe Burrow. They have a real shot at the postseason here. The AFC North is in shambles. The NFC North is in shambles. The NFL is in shambles right now. It's chaos. We'll get to it on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Big night here in San Diego. So you got SDFC taking on Minnesota. That game will be at 7 o'clock. Hear that on Jammin' 95.7 FM. Aztecs taking on Michigan in Vegas. Number 7 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is currently favored by 5.5. You hear that game at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer will be on the call at 7:30. Fletch will get pregame going at 6:30. And Monday Night Football got Panthers traveling on the road, take on San Francisco and the Niners. That game is at 5:15. San Francisco is currently a 7.5 point favorite with the point total set at 49.5. Be the 3 C's MVP this month at Valley View Casino and Hotel. On November 28th, one lucky winner will score cash, and more cash, or a spin for $100,000 during the 3 C's giveaway, only in San Diego's favorite casino.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone. Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Into the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
Going deep in the Fletch Zone.
42 for Aubrey, and the Cowboys win 24-21. But this kick is good, and the Chiefs have not led in this game until now. They get a walk-off field goal in overtime.
The first win.
Shador on 3rd down, throws it. Sampson to the flat. Sampson 35. Sampson, first down. It's a break, and he's gone. Touchdown.
And the unexpected.
They run an end around for Oshesky, who's going to throw it down the left sideline for Winston, who makes the catch at the 15. Davis reaching, fighting it is in for the touchdown.
I like to consider myself an athlete. I believe that I can make plays like that for this team.
That's why we love the NFL. San Diego State football making another statement.
San Diego State completes a perfect regular season at home. Improves to 9-2 overall and beats San Jose State on senior night 25-3.
We'll talk about the game and what's at stake on Friday. SDFC looking to the Western Conference Finals. You know what? I'll leave Sammy alone today. But don't get too comfortable.
I don't know. Thanks.
A weekend to remember, and we'll talk about it all in the Fletch Zone.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Sammy, during your update there, first I was getting excited about everything we have coming up in San Diego tonight. We got San Diego State taking on Michigan out in the Players Era Invitational in Las Vegas. We got SDFC hosting Minnesota tonight in the MLS postseason playoff race, in a race in which LAFC actually just got knocked out by Vancouver. So that's a benefit for San Diego State, or for San Diego FC. But we got so much going on. But in the middle of that, you said the betting lines for Monday Night Football tonight. You want to repeat that real quick?
Niners are 7.5 point favorites at home with the point total set at 49.5.
Panthers over.
You want the Panthers team total over?
Panthers against the spread. They're going to cover 7.5, and the final score is going to be far over 49.5.
Okay. The Ben Fletcher guarantee.
How about that? Completely unbiased, just straight shooter, telling you what I think, not what I want.
I like to hear it. Are you going to lock that in on a little parlay?
I think I might put that together tonight.
That was a trick question. You can't bet against your own team. It's ridiculous.
I'm not betting against them. I think the Niners still win, but I think it's a close game.
Yeah, if you get the hook with the 7.5.
7.5 feels nice. If it was just 7, I'd be uncomfortable about it because I think that's probably about the number.
I think it's a decent. I think it's a pretty good game tonight. I think the Niners are comfortably winning for most of it.
Road dogs in primetime historically do have the edge. Home dogs in primetime have the biggest edge in all of sports, but road dogs in primetime historically do have a little bit of an edge. And in a game like tonight, neither team really has a defense. This is such a crapshoot. It's going to be a fun, entertaining game. But I do think that the Panthers cover 7.5, but the over hits. This game finishes somewhere in the 30s, maybe even the 40s. It's going to be a big night for offenses. So fantasy football matchup, it's not dead yet.
So, I mean, Vegas opened it at 6.5. So they weren't comfortable giving the 7.5, and people have bet it up as kind of a bait. So yeah, they're telling you right around the 7 points. I think that's fair. Bryce Young's got to prove it on a big stage. Bryce Young has been very good in the 10 o'clock window.
So is the Niners.
Right. That's fair.
I mean, the Niners won that Thursday night game against the Rams, but that was when the team was still mostly healthy. Outside of that, they've had some nice, forgettable wins so far this season.
So if your Niners win tonight, what's the feeling going into
The swing, win or lose tonight, is actually massive. So with a win, you feel pretty good about them locked into the postseason. With a loss tonight, the Lions jump them. The Niners are on the outside looking in. They have to jump over the Packers, the Lions. I can't remember who that other. Oh, it's the Seahawks who aren't being caught right now. So like the NFC wildcard situation with the Rams kind of secure in first place atop the NFC West, atop the entire NFC right now with that Eagles loss. Win or loss tonight has a massive impact on whether or not I feel like watching the rest of this season or not. Kind of like you with the Chiefs yesterday.
Yeah.
Like if they lose that game, you're watching the rest of the year, but you're not happy about it.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm never not watching my guys. But yes, that yesterday would have been a catastrophic loss.
It feels like the Niners and Chiefs are on very similar paths right now, except the Chiefs are healthy. So congratulations.
Yeah, the Chiefs are healthy, but you guys have that cake schedule coming up, so you guys will be fine.
Baby. We eat that cake all day long. It's going to be a rough one. San Diego State tonight, man. This is a tough test for this early in the season. You know, San Diego State's played the least amount of basketball games of any team across the country so far. It is weird,
the schedule so far, that they're so spaced out, not a lot of rhythm to it. Now, that is the one I see about playing back to back to back.
Dutch was asked about it, and he said, yeah, we tried to schedule more games. People didn't want to come to Viejas Arena.
Well, especially, on the road. And then the fact that they got snubbed for a top 25 ranking, or maybe they weren't snubbed. I guess they lost to Troy, so they got to earn it. But they didn't get that. If you're looking at a team that wants to go on the road, if you're going to take that risk to go on the road to San Diego and Viejas, you definitely want that number next to their name so you can say you have a ranked win early in the year.
One game we haven't talked about from the NFL slate over the weekend was that Lions game. We'll get into it coming up in a little bit, but talk about huge impacts across football. That was one of them. But let's get to the big three here of our number two. Adrian Garcia Marquez joining us at 1:45, giving us the full preview of San Diego FC taking on Minnesota tonight at Snapdragon Stadium. John Schaefer is standing by in Las Vegas. He's going to be on the air right after we get off. So we got plenty to come here on San Diego Sports 760. But right now it's time for the big three. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
You ready for this, Sammy?
Let's hear it.
So this has nothing to do with sports. I'm sorry. I'm going to take us off for a second here. But it's Thanksgiving week. Thursday's the big day. Yep. Turkey day. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got family coming to town. I have maybe a 2.5 hour gap between getting off of this show and then coming right back here for Aztecs pregame.
Okay.
Check out the list I just got from Mrs. Fletcher for me to go to the grocery store right after here and get all this done.
What's she doing right now?
She's actually off for the week. She's a teacher, so.
Oh, so she's just sitting at home, not gonna go. She gives it to you to do.
I wouldn't put it like that, but yeah, Sammy, that's what's going on here.
That's interesting.
So
I
we're cruising, baby. If I were to say those words that you just said, I think I'd get beaten.
No, I'm just asking. So she's just sitting at home.
What do you mean just sitting at home, Sammy? It's a hard life. She's earned this break.
Is she watching on my HBO account that you guys keep stealing?
Probably, yeah, definitely, actually. So
it's crazy, baby.
She's got that going for her.
All right, let's go to Sunday Night Football. Rams destroy the Bucs. Game was not even close. Baker Mayfield sadly gets hurt in the game. His kind of status is in question coming up. But can anyone compete with this team in the NFC? If you had right now, who would be, if you had to pick a team in the NFC, be the number one threat to them, who would it be?
The Rams are loaded up, man. I don't. The Seahawks are the answer. The Seahawks are the one team this year.
Really?
For me, yeah. As of right now, I look around like the Lions may have the best player in all of football right now, in Jahmyr Gibbs. The guy's fantastic, the running back for the Detroit Lions. But the Seahawks feel like the most complete roster in the NFC. I got serious questions about the Eagles. Cowboys aren't going to make the postseason. You look around, and there's really only one answer to me as a threat to actually take down the Rams. The way everyone's built right now in the postseason, it's the Seahawks, who have that young, ferocious defense. Now, can Sam Darnold play a good game against the Rams? He hasn't done it yet, but maybe in the postseason this year, it's that time.
I like it in the sense of that if you're the Rams, you probably would not want a divisional opponent coming to town.
Especially with JSN on that team, he can break any game open.
Like, I would pick the concern with the Seahawks is that you haven't seen them do it. It's a first-year team. I love me some Sam Darnold, but he hasn't done it in the postseason.
And he's played terrible against the Rams his entire career.
Right. So he had 4 interceptions. I think the thing that you come away with if you're a Seahawks fan is that he had 4 interceptions and they lost by 2 points and a shot to win at the end. So I do think that's a tough matchup for them. I am going to go the Lions. I would have said Philly before yesterday, but Philly's going to be a tough out. You still got to take them out. The defending champs, they still have a loaded roster. But time and time again this season, Nick Sirianni, there's no game plan. There's not there. They go off the script. The script is working. You get up 21 points on the Cowboys, and Saquon Barkley is MIA. You don't give him the football. He has 4 carries for 9 yards in the second half. You could not have drew it up any better for the Eagles to have a big lead and let your superstar running back go to work. Jalen Hurts, they found last week in Detroit. When did they have limited success offensively in that game? He was running the football out of a read option. Nick Sirianni, I really, if I was an Eagle fan, I would want him fired immediately, because what he has not been able to do with that talent of a roster is kind of shameful. Massive
difference if that game's being played in LA versus Philly, by the way. In the postseason, massive difference if it's at the Link or if it's at SoFi.
Now, Philly they had that tiebreaker because they beat him earlier this year, but
right now the Rams have it.
Right. And the
Rams could easily win out.
Is Philly consistent enough to be, making hay in the NFC? I will go Detroit, just because Detroit has the offense to match the Rams, and the defense is only getting healthier. The secondary situation has been a little banged up for the first halfway through the season. I do think the Lions would give them an interesting game, and has the talent on offense to go blow for blow with the Rams, because there's not
Jameis Winston just cooked the Lions. There's serious questions about that Lions defense.
But who else? Like, I'm sorry, your Niners are too banged up. Eagles can't be consistent. The Cowboys are not even in the playoff picture right now. The Packers can't score. The Bears are not tested. They haven't beat a team above 500 before yesterday, where they beat the...
With health, the Rams are representing the Super Bowl for the NFC, as it stands right now.
They are far and away right now the best team in the NFL.
The Lions can catch you in a one-game scenario because the Lions have one of the better run games in the entire NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs, I said it before, I'm going to stand by it. Jahmyr Gibbs, as it's going right now, is the best skill possession player in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's unreal to watch. But the Rams are too good top to bottom. And Matthew Stafford, in clutch time, in decision-making time, Matthew Stafford's about as good as it comes.
And if the one problem for the Rams was the corner situation, and if Emmanuel Forbes is going to play like that and develop like that, like he did yesterday, tough out.
And is it 6 years ago with Devontae Adams catching fade routes in the end zone?
Yeah.
Like, he looks amazing.
Unbelievable. Let's go to the NFC North. Let's stay in the NFC. Bears, Packers, Lions all win. How do you assess each team? The Bears are currently leading the division right now. Are you buying them? Are you thinking they're total frauds? Like, what team are you most happy on or not happy on? Impressed with that bunch?
Okay, well, right now the Lions are on the outside of the postseason looking in. If we're just being very honest about where everything's at right now, Packers are somehow one of those teams that's in. Bears leading the division, like you said. The way I look at it is almost reverse order. I would have the Lions 1, Bears 3, Packers 2. So fix that. Yes, I said that right. Lions 1, Packers 2, Bears 3. Bears, their schedule gets a little tougher here the rest of the way. Am I right about that?
Yeah, they have a tough schedule. Like, they got to play the Lions again, and they got Philly on Friday, which is going to be a great game.
I could see the Packers and the Bears both missing out on the postseason this year. Lions representing them as the NFC North champion.
I think the Lions are the best team of all them. Listen, I love me some Bears. Caleb Williams is my guy, but we do have to speak it like it is. They've been in the jump from last year to this year is through the roof.
Good call, Sammy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. They haven't been a team over 500 until yesterday without Aaron Rodgers. Now, what I will say for the Bears is it's not like, Mason Rudolph's playing. They were scoring. Like, the Steelers' offense was scoring, and the offense, they didn't win 16-13.
And TJ Watt, that strip sack.
That's what I was impressed with, is that Caleb gets strip sack early in the game, and you're going, oh, no. You finally have expectations, and here you go. Pittsburgh comes in here and wrecks it. And they were fantastic in the second half.
That was a cool moment with J.J. Watt on the call.
You pointed up to him?
Yeah, it was a cool moment.
My problem with the Bears is this. They have the best turnover differential in the league. They're plus 19. If you take away drives where they don't get a turnover, they're the third worst defense in the league. The defense is completely, getting turnovers is a skill, but it's hard to rely on that time in and time out. I do think the Bears are a year away. The Packers, I don't buy at all. Just me personally. The Packers, it's too inconsistent. There's not a real identity like the Eagles on offense. It's like Christian Watson's the number one. Then Jaden Reed's coming back. Jordan Love at times looks fantastic. At times looks like he can't even throw a football. I know Josh Jacobs was out yesterday, and Emmanuel Wilson was great with 107 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. But I don't buy them. Their only shot was to get the 1 seed and have it come through Lambeau and to be freezing cold, and that's not going to happen. Detroit is the one team of those three I think that can go on the road, cause some serious problems for a team because of the offensive firepower that they bring back the other way.
By the way, the Vikings, who played against the Packers yesterday, They got a serious quarterback problem.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy.
He's not it.
87 yards, 2 interceptions.
I mean, I know that we in 2025, it's tough judging a quarterback too early because of everything that's happening around. But sometimes, at least a guy's got a little something. Like in New York, Daniel Jones at least had a little something. JJ McCarthy at this point has not shown anything.
I know Kevin O'Connell. And by the way, how long before Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison are like, get me out of here?
Seriously.
I want to go to a quarterback that can actually give me the ball.
Or force them to bring a quarterback in who can actually give them the ball.
Very true. Let's head to college basketball. Aztecs got a big one tonight against Michigan, number 7 ranked team in the country. What are your biggest keys to the game, and how big is this week for the Aztecs taking on Michigan, taking on Oregon? We'll see who they get later in the week to show out in this Players Era tournament.
Look, if you go 2-0 against those two teams and then see what happens on the third day of the tournament, but if you beat Michigan and Oregon, no one cares that you lost to Troy. That's completely erased, and in fact, you're on the way up again. You'll be a top 25 ranked team come the following week. If you lose one of them, but you say you beat Michigan, lose to Oregon, Troy is essentially erased, but you got a whole new set of problems. If you lose both of these games, all of a sudden San Diego State's in a must-win the Mountain Conference mode or Mountain West Conference mode. And that's the situation you don't want to be in. It's the best and worst part about college basketball that games like Troy can happen, that a team who's ranked in the 130s in KenPom can beat a team that's in the top 30. But it happens all the time in college basketball. It's going to happen again this year. And it's going to be more consequential in that Aztecs game because I think Troy continues to work their way up, and this whole thing is fluid. For San Diego State, in terms of keys, what's the one thing we learned against Troy? The only way this Aztecs team gets beat is when they turn the ball over a bunch. And they turned the ball over a million times against Troy and couldn't make their free throws. That was the biggest two storylines in the game. San Diego State takes care of the ball better. They're in both of these games.
And San Diego State kind of went from that sexy underdog pick that people were like, they're not in the top 25. All the college basketball people, John Rothstein was just kind of singing their praise all kind of lead up to the season. And I think a lot of that is just, but they do have to go show it. Now, Aztecs are accustomed to playing in big competition. They got caught by Troy, bad loss. You wish you could erase it, but you can't. You get a prime opportunity tonight against Michigan, a prime opportunity tomorrow against Oregon. You're playing all big name programs where people are going to be watching, not a night game at Viejas at 8 o'clock. The people on the East Coast, it's 11 when the game starts. Like, let's just think logistically if they're watching the game. These are big opportunities for the Aztecs in Vegas to take advantage of it. They can. The one thing, though, I want to see, and I'm curious tonight, I think that the lineups will look a little bit different because Michigan is such a great front court team and they have a lot of size. So the Aztecs got to try to match that with Heidi and Guath and Farrell Compton. But they're messing with the lineups a lot the first 3 games because there's so many newcomers to the program and there's a lot of returning faces and they're trying to kind of figure out the right lineups. You can't do that against Michigan and Oregon. Like if you can't be testing out too many lineups against these guys or it's probably not going to work out too well for you. So if we're going to see Dutcher early. Is like how much leeway do guys have? Are they going to lock in on a kind of starting closing 5 of the game? Are they going to shorten the bench a little bit and really make it like 8 to 10 guys? That's what I'm watching for tonight, especially moving forward. Who all is getting legit playing time versus just spot minutes?
Michigan essentially revamped their entire team. They've always been that big front court team, and they lost a bunch of guys out due to NIL, due to graduating a year ago. They brought in essentially a clone of last year's team, and last year's team was very good, ranked near the top of the nation in a lot of categories, like everything around the rim. Michigan's always fantastic at. They are once again tonight. So San Diego State, for the first time in a few years, by the way, has this kind of abundance of size, and they're going to need to use that in a big way tonight. I'll tell you, one of the Aztecs' biggest advantages is that even on the perimeter, Reese Waters, Taj DeGorville, Miles Bird are all incredibly long guards. They're very lengthy, so if they can make sure that Michigan's guards aren't the one killing you tonight, they want to get the ball inside, you almost let them have that because they're better than you there. So if you can defend everything else and make sure the 3-point ball doesn't kill you, San Diego State absolutely has a chance in tonight's game. It's going to be fun, though, man. I can't wait for it. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Long way to go here in the hour. Adrian Garcia-Marquez is going to be joining us at 1:45 to preview tonight's SDFC postseason matchup. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim take over then. Sammy and I were just reminiscing actually about the 2020 Aztecs basketball team, the Malachi Flynn, Yanni Wetzel, KJ Fagan, Matt Mitchell off the bench. That team was so much fun to watch, dude. They had a potential to be either the final 1 seed in March Madness or the top 2 seed. And could have, who knows what that team does. I still say that's the national championship team San Diego never had. But man, San Diego State basketball has been fun. They got a good one tonight against Michigan. On YouTube, some comments rolling in here today. Tyler talking about San Diego State football, saying they need to do some heavy recruiting for wide receivers this offseason. Tyler, I agree with you. I really do. But here's the thing. Jacob Bostic, through the first 3 weeks of this season, was the wide receiver 1 for this team. He had a couple of those early season 40-yard bombs from Denegal. He goes down with a knee injury. And then against Boise State, you lose Jordan Napier, who had been probably outside of Lucky Sutton the best playmaker on this team this season. And so you lose those 2 guys, and it's kind of tough. But this past offseason was all about recruiting offensive line and recruiting quarterback. They got both of those things. So this next offseason, you're right. The wide receivers need to be heavy thought, and probably quarterback again with Jaden Denegal being a senior. John says, big sports Monday for San Diego tonight. Huge. Man, I can't remember one this big in a while. SDFC in the postseason taking on Minnesota. You'll hear that on Jammin' 95.7. Here on San Diego Sports 760, we'll have San Diego State and Michigan. Tyler also saying LFG, SDFC, and SDSU. Can't wait. And then our buddy Dave saying LFGSD. Let it ring through the halls, Sammy Long. LFGSD, baby.
I'm curious. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm Mr. Soccer X's and O's.
Tell me all about it.
But
pretend for a second.
Like talking to Darren last week, it was interesting. He had the stat that Minnesota actually wants to touch the ball the least in the league. They don't want the ball. They don't want time of possession, where San Diego FC is the complete opposite. They want to dominate the ball the entire time. So, like, obviously no turnovers in the back end. And it's kind of a throwback. Like when you watch World Cup games in the single elimination, it's interesting versus the three, set of a 3-game playoff, how you manage differently, how Coach Mikey Farris is going to manage the team differently. Because that's why teams like England and France are able to get after the U.S. because the U.S. can compete. They're not as good on the starting 11, but the problem is the bench. Like, England off the bench has like superstars that, because they're so good and talented, that they're able to bring in the 70th minute for kind of a change of pace. I wonder if there's like a thought, especially considering the Chucky Lozano kind of suspension, coming back, has come off the bench a few times. Is that kind of your ace card, or like, is he starting the whole game tonight?
And he's dealing with some injury too that he suffered when he was on the Mexico national team. So they got problems. But to your point, San Diego FC, this right to dream style that they play is very much fast paced, aggressive defense, get the ball out and get up there and try to get shots on goal. Whereas it sounds like Minnesota is going to be a little more laid back, but we'll see.
And it's like, do you bring someone off the bench, one of your strikers, as like a little bit of a change of pace later in the game? But then also in a 1-game scenario, if you get down.
And here's the problem: what LAFC just had to deal with, because LAFC, a lot of people were saying, is going to be San Diego FC's biggest threat in the Western Conference. But Vancouver and LAFC, they get 2-2 finish and they end up going to PKs, and LAFC loses that way. So San Diego FC, you got to try to keep it out of PKs because that just feels like a crapshoot.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's also like it's going to be interesting for the team because having played, the same team 4 straight times, like that's
crazy.
It's wild that even happened with the schedule at the end of the year, and then them taking them on in 3 straight games. But having the 2 weeks off, international play, I'm excited to see. Hopefully they come out on fire tonight. We know Snapdragon's going to be going crazy. San Diego's going to be going nuts. So hopefully boys can get a win there and advance to the Western Conference Finals.
Look, this is our first time going through this as San Diegans, having a MLS team go like this, and just having one in general. Watching the end of LAFC in Vancouver, seeing it go to penalty kicks, seeing the fan bases pooping themselves, for lack of a better term, because it is such a crapshoot, and to have it go back and forth like that, I don't know that I want that stress in the team I'm cheering for. It just seems like too much to handle. We saw it in the wild card round, but I don't think I can handle that, man. Watching the entire season come down to just penalty kicks, like, I think it's the coolest part about soccer that's how they handle it, but it's also terrifying.
It's terrifying. I just think it's so cool, and I know you feel the same way. Like, it is fascinating. Think about where we started. Think about back in March when this team got going.
The first time we had Tom Penn on, I was like, what are your expectations? He was like, Oh,
Yeah. And Coach, I got to give Coach Mikey Vargas a ton of credit. He's been on our show a few times. He's like, our goal is win an MLS Cup. And, off the air, you're like, yeah, right. All right. Your expansion side, first time with the team, you're going to go win an MLS Cup. That's crazy. And then to think that this team all year after, suffering Alaski being your star scorer and then not being with the team, kind of suffering through injuries, some drama with Chucky Lozano. And then here you are, already won a playoff series, shot to beat Minnesota on a Monday night in San Diego, and a few wins away from winning the whole thing. Like, it is just fascinating. It's amazing what this team has done for this city and how quickly, and what you said about the right to dream, like they haven't even got their guys who they've developed yet.
Well, they're all like 12 years old right now.
Right. That's what's crazy is it's like this was supposed to be a long process and they've been so far ahead of schedule. It's just, you got to give them credit, whatever happens tonight, that they're even in this position.
Well, it's a lot like what happened in Vegas with the Golden Knights. It was their first year.
They went
right?
to the Stanley Cup in their first year. They lost, but they went. And no one. They got everyone's scraps. Everyone had to designate 3 players in the NHL, and everyone was kind of tossed aside. And they have this group that ends up going to the Stanley Cup final.
But as soon as that happened, you talk about building a fan base and keeping a fan base immediately. Instant success is a pretty good way to do that.
Yeah.
And you see the results. Snapdragon Stadium packed for all of these. This game has been sold out for like 2 weeks. I know our buddy John on YouTube saying he's going to be on the field tonight. Hell yeah, John. Good for you, man.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be a
get
blast.
those John hookups.
I know. All
Jay
right.
Sills.
It's San Diego Sports 760. We will have Adrian Garcia Marquez jumping on at 1:45 to talk about that matchup tonight at Snapdragon Stadium. But coming up next, our last little look at Monday Night Football tonight and the weekend that was in the NFL live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is furnished by Genuine. Lots going on in San Diego tonight. Aztecs going to be at 7:30 taking on Michigan in Vegas. The number 7th ranked Wolverines are currently 5.5 point favorites in Vegas. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports, 760 at 7:30 with Schaefer on the call. Fletch will get you going with pregame at 6:30. SDFC going to be on Jammin' 95.7 FM. That game is at 7 o'clock. Hear them taking on Minnesota. Currently, SDFC is -170 to win it in Vegas. Monday Night Football, Panthers on the road taking on the 49ers. San Francisco is currently a 7.5 point favorite in Vegas with the point total set at 49.5. That game gets going at 5:15 on ESPN. The support is furnished by Genuine.
This news actually just coming down within the last 5 minutes or so. Big 12 and Players Era just announcing that for the next 5 years, 8 teams from the Big 12 will be in this Players Era Invitational in Las Vegas.
Badass.
So that's Kansas, that's Houston, that's Texas Tech, some Baylor, some big names around college basketball are going to be committed to this tournament, which San Diego State is committed to over the next few years. So this tournament just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And by the way, the second San Diego State steps on the court tonight in Las Vegas, they guarantee themselves $1 million in name, image, and likeness for this year's squad. And then if they do well in this tournament, and a lot goes into it, it's point differential, it's who you beat, it's all these different things. If San Diego State's playing in one of the championship games, extra money goes into effect. So this is one of the coolest things that college basketball has done in a long time is this tournament out in Las Vegas, this Players Era Invitational. And Sammy Long, next year we need to be on the guest list.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that
we're not there
at the craps table right now in Vegas.
Right now.
But, you know.
Or in attendance. We got a Kansas Notre Dame game going on right now.
We'd be in attendance, but then of course at night, you know, we're not like Fletcher going to bed at 10 o'clock.
I promise you, like John Schaefer's sitting courtside right now watching Kansas and Notre Dame just losing his mind. Dude, I remember one year I was doing pregame. John and I were doing pregame. It was on the Aztecs national championship run where they ended up losing to UConn. But I was listening. Do you remember? It was that year. I can't remember who Louisville beat, but it was chaos in the first 4. And Louisville hit a shot in the corner to advance. And it was a sound like I've never heard before that came from that arena John was sitting courtside at. It was just chaos. And then, of course, that was the year Butler at the buzzer happened. College basketball is the best, man. All right. One game we really didn't talk about, Sammy, was that Lions-Giants game and how Sir Jameis has kind of come to save the day in New York. Can I just ask, why the hell was Russell Wilson the starter at the beginning of the year? Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston are both better than Russell Wilson.
Well, yeah.
It's not even close.
Russell Wilson is only getting looks because he won a ring. And people want to bash Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson made Pete Carroll look good. And listen, Russell Wilson was good at the beginning of his career when he had mobility. He has one of the best deep balls there's ever been in terms of like a pretty kind of sky hook type deep ball. He's not accurate though. So then you take away later in his career when he gets to Denver, he's not mobile anymore. So the running game is not a part of it. Even the last couple of years in Seattle, and Pete saw it and he traded him. And remember, everyone was picking Denver to go to the Super Bowl. Everyone said, Pete, you're crazy. Why would you do this? He was his legacy in Seattle. Yeah. I mean, Jameis is way more fun than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's past it, and Jackson Dart's the future in New York. They got a bright future for the Giants.
So on the other side of the ball, the Lions end up winning the game. It was chaotic. The Lions were down by 2 possessions for most of that game. They end up coming back and getting the win, and they do it essentially all on Jahmyr Gibbs, who, for my money, is the best skill position player in the NFL as of right now. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, the way he runs, the way if he gets past the first line, good luck catching him because nobody has a better second gear than Jahmyr Gibbs. But you look at his season numbers already, he's up over 950 rushing yards, up near 400 receiving yards, has 3 touchdowns through the air, 10 on the ground. Offensive player of the year, Jahmyr Gibbs? Who says no?
Depends on how I think so. Depends on how far the Lions go.
I guess Jonathan Taylor, depending on if this was the week he hit a wall or not. But it doesn't depend.
That wasn't about Jonathan Taylor hitting a wall. It was about the fact that Daniel Jones couldn't complete any tough passes.
Jonathan Taylor got held to 60-something yards, and that was a game where you expect him to be the one to come.
No, I know, but the Chiefs literally sold out every time on the run, and they were playing press man coverage on the outside, daring Daniel Jones to beat them. Daniel Jones in the Colts offense in the fourth quarter and overtime, 18 total yards. Chiefs had 291. That just goes to show. I don't put it on Jonathan Taylor. Shane Steichen did not get the ball in his hands, and Daniel Jones, I'm sorry, he's obviously better than what he was with the Giants. anyone picking the Colts to go to the Super Bowl, that's asinine. I mean, you saw what happened in
it's a tough look after yesterday, but the Colts have put together a hell of a season.
So you trust Daniel Jones?
Okay, up until 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Colts have put together a pretty good game plan.
No, the Colts are great.
Shane Steichen called an excellent game.
The Colts are not the problem. Daniel Jones is the problem.
I mean, I guess that's fair. I look at a couple of key moments in that game against the Chiefs. You had at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Colts go 3-and-out in their own territory, down by the goal line, kind of, and everyone knew what Spags was going to do. It was like
blitz every time.
It was like 3rd and 7 from their own 4-yard line, and Spags just blitzed the ever living crap out of him, and Daniel Jones looked terrified.
My problem though with Daniel Jones, he led one drive. He had the touchdown when Mahomes threw the pick on the 3-yard line. The Colts are a fantastic team in terms of talent in the roster. And I don't know why Shane Steichen stopped giving Jonathan Taylor the ball. Like, the Chiefs were selling out on the run, but that was the only shot they had. This is why it's tough. This is why the AFC playoff picture is so open, because you go, the Colts are going to be towards the top of the AFC, but does anyone trust that the Colts or Bo Nix in Denver is going to be doing anything? Like, it's so wide open, but then the teams at the bottom are flawed too.
One word answer: Colts or Patriots?
Patriots. Not even close.
All right.
Not even close.
It's San Diego Sports 760, the voice of SDFC. Adrian Garcia Marquez is coming up next to preview tonight's game against Minnesota live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 for a final time here. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. John Schaefer standing by in Las Vegas to take over after we get off the air. But this man has all the pressure in the world on him tonight. San Diego FC winner take all against Minnesota at Snapdragon Stadium, 7:30 kickoff. You'll hear it over on Jammin' 95.7 tonight. Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice of SDFC, joining us here. Now, Adrian, you have called NBA championships. You have called World Cup games. You have called a Super Bowl or 2 or 3 and a bunch of NBA World or MLB World Series games. Where does this rank up for you on everything you've done in your career, having your hometown club in the postseason, fighting for an MLS Cup? Where is this at for you?
Let me put it this way, and thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure to join you guys. I couldn't sleep last night. I hope I'm awake at the time I get, have to call the game, man, because I'm like that kid, and I know we all have this feeling, right? When we've played sports throughout our lives or whatever, it doesn't matter what stage. But when you have game day coming up, that night before the butterflies, big game, it still feels that way, even as a broadcast live, man. I'm very excited, and it ranks right up there with some of the events that I've had the privilege, the honor to be part of and broadcast. And, this goes right up there. A lot of people sometimes, they'll ask me, with regards to a Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever, and what's been, one of the greatest events. Sometimes it's not so much playoffs. It's just an event. And in this case, like I'll cite Kobe's last game, right? So getting to call Kobe Bryant's last game, that was absolute magic. And I remember there was a similar feeling in the air to this week, the buildup in San Diego. There's a certain air of magic, just you could feel it, you can sense it from throughout Southern California, but all of us that are excited about San Diego FC. So to answer your question, I couldn't sleep last night. I'm extra excited, and I'm ready for it, man. I've been waiting.
That's so awesome. I know that the city's on fire today. So looking at Minnesota specifically in the 1-game scenario, what do they bring to the table that SDFC has to watch out for tonight?
I think what it comes down to, it's styles make fights. And if there is a team that can counter arrest, at least on paper it showed, and we've seen it, is Minnesota United. If we look at it from boxing terms, we're from the area that we are, and I'm going to throw Canelo Alvarez in there, but our fighters, right? Terrible Morales, or just a Mexican fighter in general, the styles make fights. And in boxing, you'll have those Canelos, those Terrible Morales, those guys that they just want to get into that phone booth and trade and just, swing away and pop you to the last man standing or whatever. And that's San Diego FC, relentless attack, unified, precise, everything they do. There's a method to all of the training, all of the madness, and it shows up in the fight. But you have Minnesota United with Dane St. Clair, who's the keeper of the year in MLS, by the way. And just the way that they play under Ramsey, one of the brightest young coaches in Major League Soccer. And you see how they're very much Mayweather. They're just waiting for you to make one mistake, and then pop, they capitalize. And the rest of the fight, they're just evading. They're avoiding getting hit, and then boom, they hit you. And a lot of times it's the venomous pop. And that's how they are. That's how they've been. And that's why they're dangerous tonight.
Early in the season, Adrian, it was Chucky Lozano. Anders Dreyer has been that guy all year. But now here late in the season, like new superstars have been born for SDFC. So what are your thoughts on Pellegrino and how much he's impacted just this postseason run and this team overall as the season goes on? Because he's been fantastic, man, and so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he has. It's just the veteran savvy, right? There's a thing. You see it in Corey Barrett as well, that there are things that they do that just, throughout years, through experience, some stuff that are just their instincts. And with Damal, I think that's what we've seen, that he got his legs under him. And then all of a sudden the instincts and the knowledge and the Jedi mind tricks start kicking in, and the angles to the rectangles. And then you started seeing him free himself up, draw more attention, which took some off of Anders Dreyer. So he was able to work his paletero magic on his end. And I got to throw this in there, man. Oni Balakari has been delivering nothing but 5-star service. I mean, just for a guy that has had his ups and downs this season, I wanted to highlight that fact. And obviously the back line and Pablo Cisniega. So this has been a collective effort, as it's been from first game, night one in Carson, California, guys. It's still that same United tribe. And now you just add other elements that have brought whatever it is, that is their magic, their abilities, their knowledge, and their instincts, like Amal Pellegrino. And you're seeing it come into the collective really nicely.
In a 1-game scenario against Minnesota versus the potential 3-game set against Portland, when it went the full weight, like what should we be looking for in terms of what sub do you think, like when is the earliest sub coming in? Who's going to be the biggest sub off the bench? It's going to be the X factor in this game. We're talking about it tomorrow.
You know what? That's a great question, because that's exactly what happens across playoffs. And you saw it in baseball. Look at Miguel Rojas, right? Stroke of genius. I know Padre fans, cover your ears, but it was very, very smart what Dave Roberts there did at the end. Like, you know what? These games are going to come down to the details. I'm going to bring in a guy that doesn't get nervous defensively, a guy that knows how to make a big play, and maybe he adds something with the bat. And in this case here, you know, you heard, like, you know, Darren Smith, who's been brilliant all year covering the team for us and alongside us. And you know, he was talking about how Tommy Angel was out there in training, that everybody's out there in training. I mean, going back to the collective, even if you're not playing and you know you're suspecting you're not going to play, you're still sharpening the sword, because you understand that iron sharpens iron. So the better you train, even if you're not expecting to play, to get those other guys really sharpened up for game time that are probably going to be playing. And then next thing you know, because you're ready, because you've been putting in the work, like Tommy Angel, for example, is just one guy that I could mention to you. Ima Boateng is another one. These that have been there, done that, and don't get nervous. So they might, you know, have the opportunity, and they've had their ups and downs. And Tommy knows he's had his ups and downs, but this is maybe those moments where you have that guy that just steps in, and we've seen him bring the magic. Again, bringing Galaxy to mind opening night. You know, there are those players on the bench, and if, say, for example, Irving Lozano doesn't get the start, because we don't know, he might start, he might not start, but if he doesn't, you can bet Irving Lozano is going to impact this game.
Chucky coming off the bench. He's been dealing with some health stuff and injury that he sustained when he was with the Mexico national team. If he's coming off the bench tonight, Minnesota's got a world of hurt coming. Adrian Garcia Marquez joining us here today on San Diego Sports 760. He'll be on the call for SDFC's postseason matchup tonight against Minnesota at Snapdragon Stadium. That game gets going at 7:30 over on Jammin' 95.7. Adrian, before we let you go, it's been a huge benefit for SDFC to have most of their postseason games be played here in San Diego because this crowd has been insane. The supporting section for SDFC has been awesome. This game sold out within just a couple of hours of tickets being on sale. What could you say about the support that San Diego has given San Diego FC this season?
I mean, it's been, you know, just beautiful is the right word. I mean, just like the color azul is beautiful, it's been beautiful, and I love, you know, everything that Frontera SD have done. You know, the other night on the midweek show, we had, you know, Mr. Booth there from the, you know, what is it, the SDFC memes, the terrible SDFC memes, like everybody, guys, you guys on the shows, you know, for us as the broadcasters, the people that are covering it, you know, just our colleagues that are still trying to, you know, they're working their way through the system here in the ecosystem that is football and Major League Soccer. All of us, everybody together, unified, the city of San Diego. You can tell that we've waited for 30 freaking years to get an MLS team here, but football was very much and is very much part of the culture, and it's something that unites us all. And San Diego FC has represented that, so we all show up. We're all part of it. We're all feeling it, and that's why the Murph Dragon breathes absolute fire on game day. And I mean, look, SDFC, you know, LAFC, they fill in their park. You know, the bank, they jump in with what, maybe 22,000 is a max. We're looking at about a third. What is it, 33 tonight? Yeah. Something like that. That's kind of the projection. Unbelievable. So again, credit to the city of San Diego, all of the fans, everybody that's jumped on board, those that are jumping on board, bienvenidos. You're all part of the family and the tribe. And this has been very much one of the most gratifying experiences I've had as a broadcaster, to be part of this grassroots effort in the way that San Diego FC have done it right from the top. You know, obviously the ownership group with Mr. Mansour, you know, the Kumigai Nations, the Kwan Band, obviously Tom Penn and everybody else involved, Seb Morua, and on the marketing side, our digital people, everybody that's covered the team, put their and poured their soul into this, and it's coming out on the product. And we've just, you know, I say we can all, if it ends tonight, which it's not, but we can really just stand up and applaud everybody's effort. This has been a hell of a season one. And
it's been incredible to watch. And Adrian, it's been incredible to listen to, in large part because you and Darren, you guys do such a good job on the call of this, making it approachable for San Diego fans. All right, Adrian, appreciate you. Good luck tonight, man.
Thank you so much. And again, you know, it's funny. We're on Jammin' 95.7. Tell your friends, tell your familia. And I started off putting bumper stickers on the Jammin' Z90 buses back in the day, and here I am calling the game. It's the world. I mean, just the universe is awesome. And I thank the big man upstairs, and thank you guys for the invite, huh?
Adrian Garcia Marquez, one of the best alive doing it, man. He is the greatest. One of the other greatest, John Schaefer, is coming up next. He's out in Las Vegas getting ready for the Aztecs tonight. Thank you for being here today. We'll be back tomorrow at San Diego Sports 760.